What up, it's Rob Parker, and coming up on MLB Shop Talk, the guys debate whether or not Seattle will make the playoffs with the signing of Nelson Cruz. Also, former Tiger Craig Monroe stops by, he talks baseball, and we'll have a sneaker challenge that you don't want to miss. MLB Shop Talk starts right now. Some people say the best place to talk about Major League Baseball is on the radio. No way, no how. It's in the barbershop. I should know. I'm a sports analyst and I own a barbershop in Detroit. And the cats in the barbershop, they think they know everything about sports.
Get ready for Rob Parker's Shop Talk. Real sports, real talk.
This is Shop Talk.
Welcome into MLB Shop Talk. I'm Rob Parker. Let's start with leading off where you get my take on the biggest stories in Major League Baseball. We start with the baseball winter meetings, which kick off in San Diego on Sunday. There's expected to be a lot of action. There's still a lot of big-name free agents out there, including Max Scherzer, John Lester. There's also this big trade on the table between the Red Sox and the Detroit Tigers, where there's talk that Rick Porcello could go from Detroit to Boston in exchange for Cespedes, the great outfielder for the Boston Red Sox. That's a deal people want to see. It's also Baseball Hall of Fame time. I have my ballot, and this will be an interesting Baseball Hall of Fame. Of course, there are still names on there from the steroid era, including Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire. But there's also some new Hall of Famers on there in Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, who are likely to get in on the first ballot. But the one tricky guy is John Smoltz, the Atlanta Braves pitcher. He has 200 wins and 200 saves. He will be the interesting guy. On my ballot, I am going to vote for John Smoltz. And finally, there's talk that Derek Jeter, who just retired from the New York Yankees, might be interested in buying the Tampa Bay Rays. That would be very interesting. Kind of like Michael Jordan buying the Charlotte Hornets. Here you go, a big-time star putting together a group with money and then going out to buy a team. Jeter has always said that's his dream, is that he wants to be a Major League Baseball owner. And if he were able to buy it, he would be the first black owner in Major League Baseball. Getting Robbed is sponsored by Fathead. For real. Now it's time for the big debate. It's sponsored by Bob Maxey, the only Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealer in downtown Detroit. To reach him, call 313-392-9200 or visit them on the web at bobmaxeyford.com. There were some big doings in Major League Baseball this past week. The Seattle Mariners shocked MLB America by signing Nelson Cruz to a 4-year contract. He was the only player in the big leagues to hit 40 home runs. I love the move. I don't know, Julian, do you think Seattle, who last year just missed the playoffs by a few games, is this enough to get them to the playoffs?
I still don't think it's enough. For one, you got to consider the fact of how big the ballpark is. It's a huge ballpark. You had Robinson Cano, who went from hitting 27 home runs a year with the Yankees to 14 home runs in a year. Though Nelson Cruz is a big home run guy, he's a big power number guy, I still don't think it's enough.
Coach Jay, what about you? I mean, I think Nelson Cruz, you add to that lineup. I know you look at the 40 home runs, but he's also a good hitter, a run producer. That's what Seattle was missing last year. They needed another guy to go along with Robinson Cano.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I think the fact is that you change ballparks on him from a smaller ballpark to a big ballpark, and then at the end of the year, his production went down considerably until the playoffs. He stepped up, but if you don't produce enough to get to the playoffs, he may not be able to have a chance to perform in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be a hit or miss deal. And in my view of coaching, you got to have pitching.
And they do, but they do have King Felix. They were in the hunt, if you remember, last year, all the way till the end. Bill, you don't like this move?
I like the move, but like everything else, on paper it can look really good. Until you put them on the field, play some ball, you don't know what is going to happen. You get all those names, all those things lined up. You can't discount injuries. You can't discount what's going to happen, and let alone the season unfolding itself. Who's going to be the rising stars that come up to make this happen or not make it happen?
Along with Nelson Cruz, who left Baltimore, the Orioles also lost Nick Markakis. So they lost two big bats out of their lineup, And Coach Jay, I'm going to say, I don't know how Baltimore can rebound from losing those two bats. They were huge parts of that team that won the AL East last year.
Yeah, but they have pitching, number one. And number two, they have a hitter-friendly ballpark. So if you took away Cruz and Markakis, and now you bring in Davis back, healthy, with that pitching staff, you still have an opportunity to win.
Mo, two big bats.
You can't afford to lose two big hitters like that. I mean, you need them type of key players like that to make big major moves throughout the regular season and throughout the playoffs. So I think they're going to miss them, and it's going to hurt them in the long run.
I see. I'm there. Where are you on Baltimore? You still like Baltimore even without those guys? And I know you're right. Davis didn't have a great year. Wheaters was hurt. Machado was hurt. But still, those other guys contributed big time.
I still think they're a scrappy team, and they figure out ways to get it done. And with Machado coming back off his knee injury, with Wheaters coming back, with Chris Davis back, I think they'll be in the hunt for the playoffs and be right there in October when it comes around.
Wow. Go ahead.
I will say that if they lose Miller, now they're a bubble team.
Well, that's the other one.
All three of those.
Andrew Miller, right, who is a big-time want everybody in free agency, left-hander reliever who was lights out for them, who came from Boston to Baltimore. So that's another big play. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a big loss for Baltimore to take away those two bats.
I was just going to say, Bob, the same is true adversely. When you lose people, it is not what's on paper. It's that power is not there. Those bats aren't there. Those guys aren't there. You can lose easily.
And people can't forget that without Nelson Cruz and those 40 home runs, Baltimore would not have won the division. Check out the Shop Talk Rundown. Here's what's coming up. More Shop Talk is on the way. Stick and stay, Detroit. Now it's time for Homeboy Highlights. This week's Homeboy is Angels pitcher Matt Shoemaker, who is from Downriver's Wyandotte. Matt was robbed of a chance to pitch his first complete game in the big leagues Tuesday night. But it was Mother Nature, not the manager, who gave the Angels right-hander the hook. Shoemaker threw 94 pitches over 8 innings, giving up 2 runs and 5 hits while striking out a career-high 10 in an eventual 9-3 win over the Cleveland Indians at Progressive Field. But just as Shoemaker took the mound to warm up for the 9th inning, it began pouring, and the tarp was rolled onto the infield. Matt Shoemaker, you still are this week's Homeboy.
Yo, what up?
Tigers have been stumbling and bumbling, and SEMO, they made a big lineup change. Romaine is out, Suarez is in. What do you read into that with the changing of the shortstop?
Well, this is what I read into it, Rob. The bottom of the batting order has not been productive, and they haven't had much production from the shortstop position. Andrew Romaine has been solid on defense, but the offense has struggled. This kid, Suarez, he is not the answer, but he's a guy that they feel like can come up and be a more productive player. I actually got a chance to talk to Marcus Tim, who's the hitting instructor for the Trenton, New Jersey AA farm system with the New York Yankees. And he said that, Craig, you're going to like this kid because of his approach at the plate. Says he's a gap guy, drives the ball to all fields, very patient at the plate. But he also is a student of the game. So there's a learning curve that's going to happen with this kid. But his ability, first of all, on the offensive side is good.
How shocked are you at how poorly the bottom? I mean, once you get past Victor, it's pretty bad. How shocked are you?
You know, I'm really shocked because there's some guys at the bottom of that batting order. Alex Avila comes to mind, who's been an all-star before, who has the capability of driving in big runs. He did that in the second half of last year, and I think the Tigers was expecting him to come out this year and continue that trend.
Austin Jackson really started out great, was hitting over 300 for the first month of the season. Now he's down to 230.
Well, when you have that high leg kick, Rob, and I was a guy that had a high leg kick, you're going to deal with timing issues throughout the season. There's going to be times where you feel like you're getting that front foot up and getting it down. And then there's going to be times to where in your mind you're questioning if you're on time. Because if you watch some of those swings, he's a little bit early on breaking balls, and then he's a little bit late on fastball.
What's your take on Joe Nathan? A, his struggles. B, him throwing Castellanos under the bus after a play. I mean, he's really, really struggling.
You know what he is? He's in a rough spot right now. He's in a tough place, especially mentally as an athlete. When things are not going well, you tend to overanalyze. I think it starts with fastball command. I think when he pitches ahead in the count, be it his slider for first pitch, a get me over one, or if it's a well-located fastball, I think then when he gets ahead of guys, he's able to expand the strike zone with that good slider and get these guys out. But that hasn't happened. I will tell you this, too. When you throw 90, 89, 90, and that's 2 miles per hour, 3 miles per hour, it's different, slower than the last 2 years. I mean, so he's
makes
lost.
a big difference.
It really does, because now I can go to the plate, and I'm not thinking he can blow anything by me. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to try to eliminate his slider, especially if he's not commanding the zone. And I think right now he's trying to locate those pitches, and he's just missing off the plate, missing down.
Quickly, the last month is shocking at how poorly they've played. I mean, every team has a rough patch or whatever, but this is like a month. It's kind of shocking. Isn't it?
I ain't going to go as far as saying it's a month, right? It's been a few weeks, but you're absolutely right. The starting staff hasn't pitched up to their capability, and we know that they're better than that. Verlander, Scherzer, and Anabal's been outstanding, by the way. But those guys are going to be they're gonna get back on track. They're too talented not to. Obviously, the offense now has went through some issues. They're not scoring runs. So when you add all of those things up, it just puts you in a tough spot. But it's 100 games left. It's a long, long season. And I think throughout the season, we're going to see this team with Cabrera, with Victor Martinez, with Scherzer, with the Torrey Hunter. These guys are turning this thing around.
All right, Simo, we always appreciate it. Thank you. And we got a gift certificate to Beans and Cornbread right there in Southfield,
place.
Northwestern Highway.
I'm all
right,
over.
appreciate it. All right,
you.
thank you.
Our walk-in guest is sponsored in part by Beans and Cornbread on Northwestern Highway in Southfield. More Shop Talk is on the way. Stick and stay, Detroit. Now it's time for Trash Talking Twitter.
Miles Jackson at Eyes on the Prize says, Matt Stafford to the Pro Bowl? LOL. Oh my God. That's the funniest thing I've heard in years. Stop it. You guys are killing me.
If you want to trash anyone or anything in sports, hit us up on our Twitter. Time to change gears. Here's hip hop news.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Elle Beasley, and here's the latest in hip-hop news. It only took 2 episodes for Fox to make the decision to renew their new drama series, Empire, for a second season. The pilot for Terrence Howard and Taraji P. Henson-led program opened with big rating numbers. Empire's initial success was not just a fluke. The series had become the first drama this season to grow from week 1 to week 2. It leads all Fox shows in video-on-demand viewing as well. Lee Daniels' Empire also brought in the biggest series launch for the network since 2012. In other news, Kid Rock, the rapper turned rocker, has caught some serious flack over a picture posted by Ted Nugent. In the picture, Rock and another man are posing with a bloody dead cougar in a snowy scenario. The Facebook community responded in a myriad of ways to the image. One woman showed particular disdain for Kid Rock. Cindy Wagner said, "Lost all respect for Kid Rock. No excuse killing such a beautiful animal for sport. I will never go to any of your concerts or listen to anything you sing ever again. Shame on you. You don't rock in my Detroit work ever again. I am 100% for killing to eat, but 100% against trophy killing. Kill it and grill it or leave it alone," one man named Stephen Beto said on Facebook. And finally, a member of the New York-based rap collective that includes A$AP Rocky and A$AP Ferg has died. RCA Records and Polo Grounds Music on Sunday confirmed the death of ASAP Yams, whose real name is Steven Rodriguez. Circumstances of his death were unavailable. RCA Records said Yams, 26 years old, will be remembered for his vision, humor, and dedication to the members of the ASAP Mob Collective. Polo Grounds Music said Yams was a driving force in the group and will be missed. The ASAP Mob Collective includes Rocky and Ferg, both Grammy-nominated performers. All right, that's the news. I'm your girl, Elle Beasley. See you next week.
I'm Julian with your quick hits. We start with Monet Davis. Monet, the darling of the Little League World Series, who captured all our hearts this past summer, becoming the first girl to pitch a shutout in the Little League World Series, won SI Kid of the Year. That's a great way to end 2014. Jackie Robinson West Little League from Chicago, the first African-American Little League team to ever win a United States title in the Little League World Series, visited the White House and got to meet the president. What an experience for those youngsters. The Texas Rangers will again host the 2015 RBI World Series next summer. The kids will have a chance to play at the MLB ballpark in Arlington.
It's Shop Talk's Cut of the Week.
I got my guy D here. He got a high and tight ball fade. As you can check it out, nice blend. Put your Celebrity Black on there. Be camera ready. Take a look at the blend on it. If you need a tight haircut, come and see me. My name is Tico. That's Sporty Cuts Barbershop. That's camera ready right there. Take a look at that. As I'm spinning back around, you can take at it. I got his mustache, his beard, nice and smooth, lined up. Same length as the top of the hair. Come and see me.
More Shop Talk is on the way. Stick and stay, Detroit. For the best sports coverage on the web, go to theshadowleague.com. Coverage with a cultural perspective. Check it out. Now it's time for At the Movies with Greg.
Hi, Reese. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I would say we should do all of them like this.
I know. It's so nice to be outside.
It is. It really, really is. And also, it just makes you think about, like in the movie, with all the walking.
Yeah.
I mean, I did my little walk here. It just felt so great.
Yeah. Well, the movie, I think, inspires you to get outside and get moving. But even if you don't like hiking, there's so much in this movie that's about love and loss and dealing with when you feel completely broken, how you can put yourself back together again.
Right. Because now for you, I mean, not only are you acting in the movie, but you're also the producer.
Yeah.
So what, you read the book and just thought, my goodness, what a great story.
Well, Cheryl sent me the book in galleys before it was published, and I just flipped out. I read it in 24 hours on an airplane. I called her the next day. I said, can I get this lady's phone number? Because I have to hug her. I don't know her, but this is the most amazing book.
When you watch it, everybody, I think, can take a piece out of it, in their own life. Because
bugs.
I know, that's the thing about being outside. Yep,
Yeah.
there. You see this, and even with her walking, she meets so many different individuals, through the walk, so many different characters like we all do in real life.
Yeah.
Meet so many different people.
Yeah, and it's great how you kind of learn from the people who are on this journey with you.
Yeah.
I like that idea that we get little pieces of wisdom from everyone we meet in our lives.
At the Movies with Greg is sponsored by Nick's Chips. Grab a bag and enjoy.
Here's the Instagram shop of the day.
Check out the Anointed Touch Beauty and Barbershop located at 235 Inkster Road in Inkster, Michigan. Give them a call at 734-556-2590.
If you want your shop featured, hit us up on our Instagram account, Shop Talk TV. Now it's time for the debate challenge.
Let's welcome in Jason Beck from MLB.com. Of course, he covers the Tigers. Jason gets his hair cut at Supercuts in Royal Oak. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. And of course, Max Scherzer, one of the big free agents out there. Of course, the Tiger pitcher, who's now free to get a deal anywhere. And, there's talk from his agent that maybe they might double back and take a look at the Tigers, and there's still a door opening for maybe him to sign back in Detroit. Jason, would you do it if you're the Tigers? You already offered him $150 million, and he turned you down.
I think if the bidding doesn't get crazy, I think you have to consider it because you don't know if you're going to be able to keep David Price. You don't know if you're going to be able to keep Rick Porcello. Every indication right now is that David Price intends to test the market, see if he can set a new standard, for contract for pitchers coming off of whatever happens this winter. Rick Porcello's got a chance to hit the market at 26, 27 years old. Heaven knows what the market's going to be for him. I think the enticement's there. If you lose those two and you don't have Scherzer, that rotation is decimated.
Yeah, but Jason, I got to stop you because I just think, look, they went out and got Price to replace Scherzer. He's already on your rotation, at least for this coming year. The Tigers have bigger issues than just the starting rotation. If you don't fix that bullpen and you don't add guys on the bench who can play and hit for you, it doesn't matter what your rotation is. We saw that this year with 3 Cy Young Award winners in the rotation.
Yeah, but I think there's a sentiment within the industry that as big of a role as bullpen played in the playoffs this year, that it might have been a little bit of an anomaly. That the role of starting pitchers might have been just a little bit underplayed, at least on the American League side. I think what you saw with the Giants with Madison Bumgarner and what he was able to mean to the Giants in their series, I think kind of goes back to what the traditional thinking is, which is that, bullpens are important and you've got to have a bullpen you can trust. But if you don't have a starting pitching staff that can get you leads in the 6th, 7th innings, it doesn't really matter. You've got to have the starters.
I hear you, and you make valid points. You didn't win this debate because I just saw Kansas City's bullpen carry it all the way to the World Series. Tigers need bullpen help. Tigers need guys on the bench. That's what they need more than Max Scherzer at $200 million. Thanks for joining us, and maybe next time.
Thanks, Rob. Good debating with you.
Now it's time for a segment we call What You Sportin'. What You Sportin' is sponsored by the Restaurant Fashion Bistro on 10 Mile and Southfield Road. We have a rematch from last week. We have Brandon.
Mr. Parker.
How you doing?
Cool.
And JB.
What's up, Rob?
Let's not forget, last week Brandon was a little salty when he lost to JB. What you sporting today?
So I got on, something light. Got on Huarache 5.5 joints. 92, 22-year-old sneaker. They retro this year. Had to go to Chicago and pick them up. These fresh out the box right here.
Those
something
are sweet.
Light.
JB, what you sporting?
Today I'm sporting the gray toe 13 Jordans, true red. Got these. These are the real official, fresh out the boxes right here.
Yeah. Wow, both are nice. All right, both put your feet up there.
Hey, man, don't scuff my Huarache, man.
Hey, y'all be careful now. Don't get rough in here. Just a barbershop. And last week, JB, you were the winner. And Brandon, you know what? Fab 5, put your foot down, JB. Fab 5 retros, I'm feeling those. All right, that's MLB Shop Talk for this week. We'll see you next week.